ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासि अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ May my speech be accorded with the mind. May my mind be accorded with the speech. O self-effulgent one Brahman, reveal thyself to me. May you both, speech and mind, be the carriers of the highest truth to me. May not all that I have heard depart from me. May I be able to join day and night through this study. I shall utter what is verbally true. I shall utter what is mentally true. May that Brahman protect me. May that Brahman protect the teacher. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto you all. Good morning. This morning I am going to speak before you one very important aspect of spiritual life. How to pray. We know prayer is a very important aspect of spiritual life. And I have spoken on the aspect of prayer here a number of times. But how to pray? I would like to describe you, or rather inform you, few salient points on prayer. Before going to that, let me tell you what is the importance of prayer. Let me start with one of the quotes of Swami Shivananda, Mahapurush Maharaj, who was the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. So many devotees, they used to come as his time, in our time also. It is a common question of the devotees that, Swami, we want to meditate, but it is very difficult to meditate. We cannot concentrate. That's a common question. It is very difficult to concentrate our mind. So as usual, this question was asked to Swami Shivananda ji, Mahapurush Maharaj. Then he replied, if you cannot meditate, then sit in front of Sri Ramakrishna and pray intensely. Gradually, this prayer will merge into meditation. During prayer, mind cannot wander. The great problem in our meditation is that our mind wanders. It roams here and there. It thinks thousands of thoughts. So in prayer, mind never wanders. In Vedic age, we find there were prayers. Different types of prayers. If you see, we do what I did actually in the beginning, that is nothing but prayer. Even in the modern age, the Gayatri mantra is also a very powerful prayer. Gayatri mantra is nothing but prayer. So in early age, we find there were the custom of prayer. But when actually Patanjali's meditation came into the scene, prayer went in the back seat. Patanjali's meditation became very important, and everyone wants to perform meditation. But it was Sri Ramakrishna who actually tried to revive the prayer. If we go through the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we can find that innumerable times Sri Ramakrishna spoke about prayer. And what is prayer? Definitely there are two types of prayer. One is secular prayer, when people ask from God their problems, to solve their problems, for money, for name, fame, etc., etc. That's a secular prayer. It is not bad. And then there is sacred prayer, which is spiritual prayer, for the upliftment of our spiritual life. So there are two types of prayer, and prayer actually is a deep, intimate conversation. If you go deeper and deeper, the first thing is we can pray, ask something. As we ask from our parents, as we ask to our teachers, then it is a kind of asking. Then if we go one step deeper, it is a kind of wish. We have a notion that only the devotees, those who have accepted the existence of God, they can only pray. It is true that prayer is in the path of devotion. Those who are devotees, they pray. But it is also untrue that only devotees, they pray. It is not. Prayer is the deeper wish of our mind. Even when a baby cries, that is also a kind of prayer unarticulated prayer. Even an atheist, when wish something, that is also a kind of prayer. So a deeper wish is also a kind of prayer. In Vedic period we find there are innumerable prayers which is not direct to any deities, any god and goddesses. So it is, the important thing is to develop a prayerful mind. When we ask something, when we wish something, that is also prayer, a deeper conversation. When we ask with ourselves also, when we converse with ourselves, that is also a kind of prayer. So a prayer is a deeper inner conversation, intimate conversation with God. And the more it is deeper, the more good. Now, what is the importance of prayer? I have already mentioned that Swami Shivanandaji, he said that if we cannot meditate in the beginning, if we cannot concentrate our mind in the beginning, start with deeper prayer. That will lead you to the meditation. That is a different part of prayer. If I get time this morning, I shall just refer few points on that. How does prayer take our mind to meditation? How prayer leads to meditation, if I get time. But what is the importance of prayer? Even Holy Mother, she said that there is no harm if we ask the secular prayer, if there is some secular prayer. Slowly, if we have the secular prayer, sometimes we think, oh, why shall I ask something from God in our day-to-day life? Because it is a kind of greedy approach towards God. So we must not ask or pray something for our personal thing from God. Actually, Holy Mother addressed this point. She said that there is no harm if we first start with the secular prayer, because we are human beings. To whom shall we ask? To whom shall we take shelter, if not God? So she said in many places, many circumstances, that ultimately this secular prayer leads to sacred prayer, spiritual prayer. So start with that. Try to develop a prayerful mind, a prayerful awareness. That is actually important. I am not going to the prayer according to the Christianity, because actually prayer developed a lot in the Christian era, and different mystics, they have their different kinds of techniques or instructions of prayer As for example, according to Saint Teresa of Avila, she said that there are four types of prayer. She said that prayer of quiet, it is the contemplative prayer, the prayer of quiet, the prayer of simple union, the prayer of ecstatic union, and the prayer of transforming union. You can understand that what are the different stages of prayer. Go deeper and deeper. First started with prayer of quiet, just calm and quiet. And then prayer of simple union. It is a kind of superficial, intellectual or emotional union with God. Then there is prayer of ecstatic union. It is a deeper kind of union. And lastly, the prayer of transformative union. So the transformation comes here. That is the goal of spirituality. Unless we transform ourselves, there is no use of spiritual practice. So spirituality actually transforms ourselves. Similarly, we have other kind of prayers. In different types of prayers we have in other schools also. But what is the importance? Why should we pray? It gives us three things. Number one, it opens the heart to the divine grace. We have doubt. Is there anything which is called divine grace? Because in our problem, we cannot find any solution from the divine. So is there anything which is called divine grace? If we don't open our heart to the divine grace, if we cannot try to feel that, how can we understand it? Take the example in this world. If a person loves another person, how can the second one feel the love if he or she doesn't open heart to the love? If a person is indifferent, have some kind of preconceived notion, how could one can understand love? So prayer open our hearts towards the grace. Then only we can understand. Sri Ramakrishna, in his lucid language, he referred that in the high land, water cannot log. If the land is low, then only water logging takes place. So unless we open our heart, unless we come down, the grace we cannot feel. For feeling grace, we must be very subtle. In the gross mind, we cannot feel grace. If our mind is connected with the worldly things, worldly enjoyments, if we give more priority to the external world, then how can we understand grace which is internal? That is the first thing. Prayer open our hearts. Secondly, it removes internal obstacles. if we cannot remove our samaskaras, the obstacles of samaskaras, it is very difficult to progress in spiritual life. Because it is the activity of our unconscious. So we have to understand the function of our samaskaras. As for example, the egoism. Egoism is so canny fellow because it supports us. It protects us. Take the example. If I criticize you, suddenly, what you will do? Immediately you will react and ask me, why are you criticizing? I am not in that way. I did the right thing. Immediately we justify ourselves. Who does this? Our ego. So our ego always tries to protect us. So it is very difficult to understand ego and to eliminate ego. So prayer removes these obstacles. This is the obstacles in spiritual life. Because it is the false I. And ego actually commands. Ego operates us. Our individuality is nothing but ego. How many of us try to understand the deeper aspect of ego, that behind ego there is another thing which is our real nature, which is our consciousness? We cannot understand that. So it removes our inner obstacles, these samaskaras. I shall come next to faith and belief. Then you can understand. The third thing it does, it removes the external obstacles also. Prayer removes the external obstacles. What is meditation? Meditation is not just concentrating our mind onto a single thought. It is easy to concentrate on any external object or the internal mental object or on any thought. I can concentrate on my thought. That is easy. But meditation doesn't mean that only concentrating on one particular thought or one particular object or only one thing. Meditation means the higher turn of our mind. That's why we do not meditate on a tiger, on a cow, on a dog. Why don't we meditate on that? On a particular picture, on a dot. That may be the concentration, but that must not be the meditation. Meditation means if we have to transform our mind if we have to direct our mind to the higher level, then we have to turn our mind towards the higher direction. So meditation doesn't mean to concentrate on certain point. It is also mean the turning of our mind towards higher direction. And how can we do that? Prayer. Even when we meditate, we can meditate in a prayerful mind. I said, in a deeper sense, prayer actually is an awareness, a prayerful awareness of mind, a prayerful attitude. So these are the three important benefit what we can get in meditation. So meditation, first, concentrate our mind, bring it in the present, because meditation is nothing but bringing our mind at the present. It brings our mind and leads it to one direction, and that is the higher direction. Three conditions to be fulfilled in prayer. First, a prayerful temperament. If we don't have a prayerful temperament, we cannot pray. And how to develop this prayerful temperament? Why generally we don't or cannot pray? Because we don't have this prayerful temperament. Why we don't have the prayerful temperament? Because of our ego. Secondly, longing, vyakulata. Longing is required. Again and again, Sri Ramakrishna says longing is there. If we do not have long, it is very difficult. And third, patience. In prayer, if we don't have patience, we cannot see the impact of prayer. For prayer, immense patience is required. What we do, we just pray in our problematic time. Not always. We don't pray always. When we fall into a problem, we pray. And we do not wait. We think that immediate the effect will come. And when we cannot find the solution, we say, oh, for so many times I am the devotee of God, for so many times I am praying, but see, nothing is happening. So patience is required. These three things. And how can we develop that? That is actually my exact point of this talk. Now let us describe the faith and belief, and then I shall switch over. How can we develop these three conditions, and exactly how should we pray? Belief is a kind of cognitive thing. It is purely intellectual thing, like lower intuition. I believe that this is this. It is a kind of blind. Simple, strong opinion. That is called belief. But faith is extremely important in our life. Faith is not blind belief. Faith, in Sanskrit, it is translated as Shraddha. It is the higher kind of consciousness. It is the orientation of the whole of our unconscious mind towards the goal. It is one-pointed determination. That is called faith. So faith means belief, trust, and goal orientation. Trust means you can firmly depend on a person. That is called trust. That yes, I can depend on him or her. Faith means depend on yourself. It is not depending on others. Faith means your dependence on yourself. Yes, I can do that. So you have faith on yourself. That is why Swami Vivekananda said, faith, faith, faith. Faith on yourself and faith on God. So faith is a kind of inner dependence. Faith makes you act. It springs up action for reacting the goal. So your action takes you to the goal. It comes from some action. But the reaction is traveling towards the goal. Where does faith originate? It comes unconsciously. Can we develop faith? No. It comes unconsciously into your unconscious. Because it is the orientation of your unconscious. We do not have any reach towards unconscious. Faith is the orientation of our unconscious. This one-pointedness comes and it gives us strength, it gives us courage, it gives us determination. How it will come? See, we take food for the strength of our muscle, physical strength. For physical strength, we need food. For the strength of knowledge, It comes from mind. And the spiritual strength, from where it will come? It will come from our consciousness. By orienting our unconscious, because unconscious is our only obstacles. If we can remove the obstacles, it is already there. What does it mean by knowledge? Knowledge means when your ignorance of something will go, that is the knowledge. So our work is removing. So a beautiful thing is there. Radha, Radha was a sculpture, beautiful sculpture he did. A lot of. So he was asked, how could you make such a beautiful sculpture? He said, I don't make anything. The stone is there, and the whole sculpture is there in the stone. What I do, I remove only the unnecessary part from the stone. The sculpture will come out automatically. It is already in the stone. Exactly in the same way, the knowledge is within us. When Newton discovered the gravitational theory did not come from the sky. It was there in his mind. Only the external things triggered it. That's all. The gravitational theory was not inside the apple. It was in his mind. So everything is in our mind. Mind means consciousness. So the spiritual strength comes from our consciousness. And faith is one of that. Now the last part. How can we develop 3 conditions? Prayerful temperament, longing, vyakulata, and patience. A beautiful verse is there. It is from Ahiro Budhanyaya Samhita. It is very common verse. Actually, Ramanuja also used this verse number of times. It says, beautiful verse, Anukulasya Sankalpa, Sanskrit verse. I shall tell the meaning also. Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Barjanam, Rakshishati iti Viswasa, Goptritva Baranam Tatha, Atmanikshepa Karpanye, Shadavidha Sharanagati. 6 types of Sharanagati. Sharanagati means prapatti, surrender. Surrender at the feet of God. 6 types. What are they? Because prayerful mind means you are seeking something. When a person seeks, when he or she feels that something is required. When a person feels helpless. So this verse says, Anukulasya sankalpa. Your sankalpa anukulasya. Thinking of what is auspicious and favorable. So there should not be any negativity. Anukulasya sankalpa. Pratikulasya Barjanam. Not thinking of what is unfavorable or inauspicious. Don't think that. Think always auspicious and favorable. Positive thinking. You know, the beautiful famous book is there, Power of Positive Thinking. Then Rakshishati iti Vishwasa. What kind of Vishwasa? Rakshashi. Faith in God's saving power. Rakshati iti Vishwasa. Rakshati. Who is Rakshati? Who is protecting us? The power of protection. Extremely important. Rakshati iti Vishwasa Goptritya Varnam Tatha. Always preferring God's protection. And that gives you courage. If you have a huge bank balance or huge investment, then you have the courage. Yes, I don't care anybody because I have investment or bank balance. Or if you have a powerful senator, your relative is a powerful senator, then you have the power. Yes, I have, my relatives is a senator. You have the power. So if you have something, then we get power or courage or whatever things. But if we don't have any material, the having things, there are two types of mode. One is having mode. These are having mode. You are possessing something. You are possessing money. And another mode is there, which is called being mode. You are that. You are the intelligent person. Nobody can take it from you. If I know something, nobody can take it from me. That's the being mode. Having mode, you have a risk of losing something. But if it is being mode, you are that. There is no risk of losing something. So what is the being mode here? From where strength will come? From something strength will come. From something courage will come. What is that? That is the protective power of God. Or the eternal existence of our consciousness. From here we can get this. But as this morning we are talking about devotion and God and prayer, so I would say it will come from this protective power of God, this faith on the protective power of God. Goptritya Varnam Tatha. This is also Sharanagati. And the last, which I shall describe this morning, Atmanikshepo karpanye. This word karpanye. I shall analyze this word karpanye. How to pray. Sharanagati means surrender. This karpanye, this word this is a secret thing. Atmanikshepo karpanye shalobidha sharanagati. Shalobidha means 6 types. Sharanagati, prapatti. Another name of Sharanagati is prapatti. Surrender. So, this Atmanikshepo karpanye, always self-surrender, and Sharanagati means self-surrender, and feeling of helplessness. Karpanya means actually the kripon. Kripon means miserly. That is means by kripon. The miser person. That is called kripon. But here it is means helpless. How can you develop playful temperament or bakulata when we have this kind of longing, when we feel complete helpless? So for prayerful mind, the sense of helplessness is there. We have to develop a kind of helplessness. And literally it is true. In ordinary sense, we cannot experience this helplessness. But when I see my very close relatives or very close friend is about to die, I do not have any option in front of me to save. Doctors raised their hand. Then we experience what is called helplessness. When we are trekking in the mountain alone and lost the way, we don't have anything. Then we can find, then we can experience what is called helplessness. And then the intensity of prayer actually comes. So prayer means continuity and intensity. If there is no intensity and continuity in the prayer, that will not work. So if we have to develop the prayerful mind, this sense of helplessness is required. And that means the karpanya. This means karpanya. Swamiji, in his inspired talks, he said, God helps those who do not help themselves. We heard God helps those who help themselves. But Swamiji said the other thing. God helps those who don't help themselves. So when we are completely free, then only God will come, when we raise our hand. There is a story, in the Purana. Purana is full of story. It is said one day in the heaven, an imaginary part, a lot of imaginary part. One day in the heaven, Narayana was sleeping and Lakshmi was massaging his leg, his feet. Suddenly Lakshmi saw that Narayana got up and about to run. But he saw after some time, actually Narayana ran away very fast, but within very short time he came back and he slept again. Then Lakshmi asked him, "What happened? You rushed so fast and within short time you came and you laid down. What happened?" He said nothing, did not disclose. But after some time, again he woke up and ran very fast. So Lakshmi could not understand anything. Then after some time, Narayana came back and slept again. Then Lakshmi said, "No, please tell me what happened. You are rushing there, heading there number of times, and then coming back and sleep. What happened? You first tell me. I want to know that." Then Narayana disclosed. "You see, you were massaging my leg, feet, and I was sleeping. But suddenly I saw one of my ardent devotee was in trouble and he is praying me. So as a God, I have to rush there and I have to save him. So I went and rushed. But I came back immediately. Because when I was heading towards him, I saw he has taken refuge of some other friend. So I thought, okay, let him do that. So I came back. But after some time, again he prayed earnestly to me. So I went and I saved him. So that is the point. When we take refuge from external resources, which is really, if you think very carefully, you can find that those are actually not our help. Sometimes, yes, our friends, our family members, or somebody, they come to our help for some resources, for some known things, for something, for some reference. Yes, sometimes. But ultimately you can find that most of the time you are solving your own problem. If you think that in the trouble, when trouble comes, then only Mother Mary will come. There is a song, no? A beautiful song is there. So, this is the main thing, a feeling of helplessness. When we feel this kind of helplessness, that gives us longing intensity. This doesn't mean that we should pray only when difficulties come. It gives us intensity. It is enough if one opens one's heart to the divine power and light through the strong prayerful wish, which we may call autosuggestive prayer. It is a technical term, the autosuggestive prayer. Many of the Vedic prayers still in use are not directed to any particular deity. They are mostly of the nature of autosuggestion. So the main bottom line is we have to develop a prayerful mind. When we meditate, at that time also, we have a prayerful attitude. We have a surrender attitude. Because meditation is an effort to establish a loving relation with God. It is the conscious, self-directed focusing of the conscious stream of thoughts on our mental object. It is a conscious approach. The prayer is also a conscious approach. And in prayer, our consciousness is directing, self-directed. In meditation, it is self-directed effort towards the mental object of thought or any object. In prayer, it is also the self-directed focusing, a stream of emotion, feeling towards an object. In one case, you are directing thoughts, you are managing thoughts. In another, you are managing your emotion, feeling. Which one is strong? Obviously, emotion and feeling are strong. So, this is prayer. Prayer doesn't mean we ask. Definitely, starting from there, we ask something, please give me this. Starting from there. But it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And develop a prayerful mind. Wish. And when we can do that, automatically our mind will withdraw from the external world and come here. You can compare it in the worldly frame of reference. In worldly way, if a person loves another person, what happens? A story is there again, written by Girish Chandra Ghosh. I referred it here number of times. The Billo Mongol. Billo Mongol, a young boy, loved a young girl, but the girl was not good. She was fallen. So this boy, he used to go, he's a Brahmin boy, higher caste boy, So, the respectable family. But unfortunately, or fortunately, he fell in love with a girl who was fallen. Now, he has to go every day to that girl's house. There was a river, small, narrow, a creek, I would say creek, kind of creek. So he had to either take a boat or swim to go to the other side of the creek and to go to that girl's home. One day there was a very stormy night, rainy. So huge, like a flood, water rushed in that creek. Now it was difficult for him to cross, and there was no boat because it was huge rain. But his love, that is longing, intense longing. This gives courage. Swamiji has another story also. He told that love, in reference of love, he told that love gives us courage. Then somebody asked, how love gives us courage? Then Swamiji said that mother and child story, in a forest, mother and child, they were there and suddenly a lion came. And mother pushed back the child behind and stood before the lion. What gave this courage to her? Love. However, in this case, this Billamangal, this name of this boy was Billamangal. So, in the stormy night, nothing was there. But he wanted to go. Suddenly he saw something is floating and coming. He jumped into that. And by hard, effort, at last he crossed that creek. And he came and knocked the door. So that girl opened the door and became very annoyed. And when he wanted to enter, he found that a bad smell is coming from his body, and he was full of dirt and everything, filthy things. So the girl was very annoyed and closed the door, kept this boy outside and said, don't come today. So boy was very sad and came back, and ultimately he found that by the help of the thing, he crossed the river. That was actually a dead body. That was a rotted dead body. Bad smell, everything, filthy things are there, so it's a carcass. But he could not understand that. See the longing, the intensity, that is required. Now replace here your prayer. Compare it with the prayer. This kind of longing, intensity, deeper urge of getting that. This is prayer. This kind of prayer is required. This kind of mental setup is required. So prayer is a state of mind, state of your consciousness, by which you can connect the higher thing. See, the two things prayer is doing. One, withdrawing our mind from the outside, which is called pratyahara, and then it gives us the higher direction. Any question? And for that only one thing is required. Karpanya. Everything is required. But one most important thing is that a feeling of helplessness. Any question? And actually we have a misconception that if we develop some kind of helplessness and the attitude of prayer, it is a sign of weakness. No, it gives us courage. See that boy, Billamangal. What gave him the courage in that stormy, windy night to cross that creek, and by any means? From where he got that courage? So it gives us strength and courage. Any question? Okay, thank you very much. I think that you have had a beautiful summer recess, healthy, beautiful summer recess, and the Navaratri is going on. Devi Paksha has already fallen, so Durga Puja is knocking. So from tomorrow, I think from today itself, tomorrow Shashti or today Shashti? Today Shashti. So 6th day, the mother will kill the demon, This is also kind of win of divine against demonic nature. So that is already, our Durga Puja will be next Sunday. I request you all, please join at 3 p.m. here in this hall, Durga Puja. So please come. And we have another important announcement, that is that program for Swami Vivekananda's 125th anniversary. We have the program on 15th November. That is also a great program, and it will be in the First Presbyterian Church. Only, I think, 4 minutes walk from here, in the First Presbyterian Church here in Berkeley. So the keynote speaker is Professor Ruth Harris, who is coming from Oxford. She is the professor of Oxford, and she wrote a book on Swami Vivekananda. And there will be an interaction of Professor Robert Goldman with Professor Ruth Harris, an interaction, and then there will be a panel discussion. Dr. Rita Sharma, who has compiled a book from GTU, then Ajay Rao from Toronto University, who is working on Veda, and then Chris Chappell from LA, the University of Loyola, Loyola Marymount or something? Marymount. Loyola Marymount, LA. He is the professor there. So there will be a panel discussion, which will be moderated by Professor Obak Luther, who is the Sanskrit professor of our South Asian studies, and Professor Munish Farooqi, who is the head of South Asian studies, UC Berkeley. He also speak. So this is the program, very high level program. So I request you all to join with your family, friends and acquaintances. Only here in the Presbyterian Church. So please come. And no ticket. In our previous event there was ticket. But here no ticket. It's completely free. Okay. Thank you. Let me chant. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkham Apnuvat, Sarvastarotu Durgani, Sarvo Bhadrani Pashyatu, Sarvo Sadbuddhimapnotu, Sarva Sarvatra Nandatu Durjana Sajjano Bhuyat Sajjana Shantimapnuat Shantamuccheti Bandhebhyo Muktoschanyan Vimochayet. May all be happy. May all enjoy good health. May all see happy events. May all be freed from miseries. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bondages. May the freed make others free. May the Supreme Spirit, the presiding deity of all sacred activities, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe feels satisfied. Peace, peace, peace unto all. As usual, tea and coffee will be served in the Saradananda Hall, which will be followed by Prasad luncheon. You all are requested to join.